Welcome everybody to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. In just a moment, we're going to begin our Friday evening service. This is it's Shabbat. It's a reason to celebrate all on its own. And in the context of this service, we are also celebrating a very special family and a very special young man, Eli Axel, who this Shabbat is celebrating becoming Bar Mitzvah, which means we have, in addition to a wonderful Shabbat service, many people from Eli's family and Eli's history participating in the service, and really glad that everybody here is on Zoom. So we're going to start on a page, and that page is 13 with Shalom Aleichem. Sing along even if you're muted.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Motem LaShalom, Malachei Yashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzechem LaShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Together.
In just a moment, if you're with us on Zoom, there's going to be the Friday night prayer book that's being uploaded in case you don't have one at home or wherever you are. And so you'll be able to download that and follow along with the page numbers that I call. You'll notice that this is a singing community. And as I said before, we invite you to sing. Even if we can't hear you, we know when you're singing along with us. And so take advantage of the private space that you're in and just let it out and join us with your voice. Before we go any further, however, we want to acknowledge that at this moment, even as the lights have gone down outside and the sun has set, part of Shabbat is bringing a new kind of light into the world through rest, through joy, through celebration. And we commemorate this with two special candles that are in the chapel right now. And even though the candles are already lit because the sun is already down, the family's going to get together and say our customary blessing to God for the light that God brings into our life.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher tishmanu lemitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Beautiful. We're going to begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service right now. That is a service of receiving Shabbat into our lives, and we have a few songs and prayers that are like a ladder that we ascend to the holiness of Shabbat before we get into our Shema and Amidah. We're going to start with Lechuna Ranana. If you have a page in front of you, that's on page 15, and Lechuna Ranana it's in the imperative. It says, "Get up and let's sing together." So let's do that. Page 15.
לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. נריע, נריע לצור אישנו, נקת מפנה בתודה. נריע, נריע לצור אישנו, בזמירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. כי אל גדול אדוני המלך גדול על כל אלוהים. 40 שנה אקוד ודור ואומר עם טועה לבבם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ואפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי.
Page 16. If you'll join us on page 21, so far we've been looking at psalms that come from King David very far back in our tradition. This one's a little bit newer a tune. It's only about 500 or 600 years old. And this was crafted by the Kabbalists of Sfat, who wanted to set their intention on welcoming Shabbat in their language like a bride being welcomed to a wedding or to a queen into one's presence, the archetype being the most honored guest, but not a distant figure, but to someone we're attached to. And that's why this song is called Lachadodi, which means come, my beloved. It begins on page 21, page 21.
שמך ונגילה
לך אדוני לקראתך, יבביי, 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 ושבת תקבלה. לך אדוני לקראתך, יבביי, 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 ושבת תקבלה.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ורצונה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, אוי לך דודי לקראתך, ירלי ירלי בשבת נקבלה, אוי לך דודי לקראתך, ירלי 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 בשבת נקבלה.
If you're standing, you may be seated. It's now my honor to call Teresa Peterson, who's in the chapel, who's going to do us the honor of reading the Psalm for Shabbat, which can be found in your prayer book on page 23. Page 23.
It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God.
To affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp.
Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation.
How vast your works, Adonai, your designs are beyond our grasp.
The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this.
The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are supreme forever.
Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble.
But me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attackers.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God.
They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant, to proclaim, Adonai is just, my rock, in whom there is no flaw.
Thank you, Teresa. We're now going to sing the same song in Hebrew on page 23. Page 23.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Let's join together. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי יסוד ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון ותינון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מה גדלו מעשיך לך אדוני ועודם כמחשבותיך יא אלי אלי אדוני אדוני יא אלי אלי אדוני יא אלי אלי אדוני 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 מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Before we continue with the Baruch Hu, our call to prayer, we're going to take a little break for just a few words of Torah. And I have to ask this question, and our other students know why. Eli, do you want to speak tonight or tomorrow? I'll do tonight, and you speak tomorrow, okay? This is a ritual. Sometimes rabbis' bad jokes are rituals at a synagogue, and that's one. So welcome to PJTC, everyone. Looking, first off, I've learned a tremendous amount of Torah from Eli, and tomorrow, so will you. I was looking at a particular verse that he was studying, and I read ahead a little bit. I looked at the verse before that. It reminded me of another time, another place, another bar mitzvah. And so, just to be clear, this wasn't Eli that this happened to, but there was a bar mitzvah who was a wise young man and a wise guy, I'll say. He'd worked really hard. He was very talented, good musical ear, always makes it easier to prepare. And he practiced all of his readings. He had a stellar Devar Torah, and what he was really proud of was his Torah blessing. And so I'm noticing people are having a little trouble hearing me. Can you hear me okay now? No. All right. How about now? Is that a little better? Okay. All right, let's get on with this. So, because Eli's practiced a lot for what comes next. So there was a young man who had practiced his Torah blessing, and he did it really, really well. And then, because it was a rehearsal, you let the parents try out their parts too. And his mom went to practice her Torah blessing, and the young man made a face. I don't know if anybody here has a young man who's ever made a face. If you do, you know what I'm talking about. And I said to him, "You've been practicing this blessing all year, but your mother hasn't practiced her blessing for much longer than that. But she knew it way before she knew you. So if there's one thing I can impart to a talented bar mitzvah such as yourself, it is that with great learning comes great humility." And he said, "Thank you, Rabbi Spider-Man." And I said, no, that's Spider-Man. But this is a lesson not just for B'nai Mitzvah. Certainly as we're preparing people for this moment, young people, young women, young men, we like to instill confidence. We pump them up. We say, "You've got this. You've been practicing for a year. All these people are here to support you. You're going to do great." And you should exude that confidence on the bima. But humility is important too, and not just for B'nai Mitzvah. And we learn this in the part of the Torah right before what Eli is going to teach on tomorrow. So no spoiler alerts, no looking ahead. God had finished almost everything in the creation. And then God looks around and says, somebody's missing. So in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, God says,
Vayomer Elohim, Naaseh Adam B'Tzalmenu Kidmutenu. God said, let us make a person in our image after our likeness. And the heretics went wild. They weren't there at the time, but later on they read this part and they said, this is very problematic. And about 1,000 years ago, there was a rabbi still dealing with those heretics, and they said, what is this language? Let us make a human in our image. Is this the Queen of England speaking this way? Is this the royal we? Is God, chas v'shalom, plural? No, that's been kind of the point of this project this whole time. God is not plural. Why is God saying, let us make a human in our image? And Rashi answers the detractors, and he says, God sees fit in this moment. God's not talking to other gods, let's be clear about that, but maybe surrounded by the heavenly host. All those people, those angels that surround him and go, Kadosh, 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 those folks were there. And God says to them, hey, wouldn't it be nice to make a person? Let's make a person. And so the people say to Rashi, what is this? Why is God saying let's? God can just make a person. God made a whole world before that person. Why is God asking permission? And Rashi says, no. This is how important humility is. Right before creating the first person, God looks around. God, who can do whatever God wants and doesn't need your permission, angels, says, let us do this thing. What do you think? Even with all that power, even with the vision to do this, God involves God's team. And God knows about us that the more power we have, the less inclined we are to do that. The more visionary we see ourselves as being, the less we tolerate other visions. And so God takes this moment to say, this is a team effort, and we're going to do this together. Because this dude's going to cause problems, and we're going to need each other. So the lesson for me, and the one that I want to pass on to you, and this isn't just about humbling Eli right before he's supposed to be confident, but this is a lesson for all of us, that the more power we exercise in the world, and the clearer our vision is, the more responsible we are for humility and inclusion. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you once more for joining us at PJTC. With that, I'm going to hand it over to an able Jewish adult to lead us in our call to prayer, the Baruch Hu, which is going to be on a page, and that page is going to be page 28. And I'll ask you to rise for this part of our service. So please rise, page 28.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Uma'avir yom umevi laila. Umaftiu bein yom ubein laila. Adonai tzavaot shemo El Chai v'Kayam. Tamid imoch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv aravim. Amen.
You may be seated as we continue to bless God's great love on page 29. Page 29.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת עמך אהבת אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו ושוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה, נהגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen. Eli will lead us in the Shema on page 30.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושמרתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
You can continue with the next passage at your own pace, and we'll get back together at the top of page 31 in just a moment. We continue at the top of page 31.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורתם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת, וחיה לכם לציצית, וריתם אותו. וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטעו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אמת ואמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו, כי אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתנו.
We continue on page 32.
מלכות ורצון קיבלו עליהם, משה מרים ובני סלח הנושירה, ושמחה רבה ואמרו כולם. We continue in the middle of the page with מי כמוך. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקר היום לפני משה ומרים. זה לי, אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פניו ראיית יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך שמו.
גדול ישראל.
Amen. On the next page, page 33, the Axel family is going to lead us in Hashkivenu, page 33.
And the bar mitzvah, Eli and our friend Teresa will be playing the guitar. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amitenu malkeinu lehaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amitenu malkeinu lehaim. Shmor tzitzeinu huveinu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amitenu malkeinu lechaim. 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 Shalom, shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen.
Yeah, we're going to continue on page 34 with the Shamru.
Let's join together.
Shamru b'nei
ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. והנה יובל בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. Together, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 34.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'almadi brakirute, be'amlich malute,
Behayehon v'yom elihon, u'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agala u'izman karev.
V'imeru,
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam olam me'almaya, yitvarach.
yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemir kudasha,
Brehu.
le'la min kol birchata, v'shirata,
Tushbehata lehemata, tamihira be'ama.
v'imeru.
Amen.
We're going to continue on page 35b with the private Amidah for Shabbat evening. You can say the words from our tradition that are on the page. They are strong. They will support you. It's also a time to include any private prayers of your own. It's our custom to rise for this prayer. And when you're finished with your own prayer, you may be seated. And we'll get back together in just a couple of moments.
היא הוא לרצון אמרי פי וגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי אמן. Together. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. ועל כל ישראל.
We conclude the Amidah with the Kaddish Shalem on page 48. Page 48.
Gadol v'yitkadosh shemei Rabbah, be'amadi rakirute, be'amlich malhute, be'chayachon v'yomachon, v'chayed kol Beit Yisrael, ba'galo v'zman kari v'imiru.
Amen. V'hei shmei Rabbah me'ora, ve'alamula ve'amaya, yitzvarach.
Yibarach v'yishtabach, v'pa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah.
Rihu.
Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram be'alma v'imiru.
Amen.
Tikabal floton u'bauton, de'cho Yisrael, kol dam avuhon divishmaya v'imiru.
Amen.
Ve'hei slama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imiru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, u'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imiru. Amen.
We begin to end our service with Aleinu on page 51. Page 51, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שמות השמות. על כן נקבל לך אדוני אלוהינו לראות מלך תפארתו. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולעולמי עד תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב את תורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ,
You may be seated. This is a moment in our service, even as we celebrate and joy together, we're also reminded of those who are no longer with us. And it's time for us to say the Mourner's Kaddish together. Before we do, I want to let you know that in this community, we are marking in the coming week the yahrzeit and the anniversary of the passing of Abe Selrenick, Barnett Ginsburg, Beatrice Several, Bess Donald, Bessie Breslow, Charles Dixon, Charles Levinson, Clara Goldberg, Connie Chodos, David Fain, Donald Eli Whitkin, Edward Spira, Edwin Smith, Elaine Weiss, Eleanor Jacobs, Evelyn Schaefer, Fanny Weiss, Fred Unicy, George Rogler, Gisela Farber, Harry Abend, Harry Browdy, Herman Scher, Howard Copland, Hyman Schwartz, Gene Freckman, Julius Kaplan, Libby Balkin, Louis Beskin, Magda Green, Marion Shapiro, Melvin Feiner, Mortimer Nathaniel Felsinger, Pauline Todd, Samuel Reff, Samuel Schrifter, Seth Collin, Solbert Handler, Sophia Weiner, and Tom Brown. If there's another name that you would like to lift up in honor at this time, hold their name in your heart as we pray, or say their name out loud wherever you are. And I'll ask that if you are in mourning or observing a yahrzeit, please join me in the Mourner's Kaddish on page 52, page 52. Yitgadal v'yitkedash shemei rabbah,
Amen.
Ba'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. If you're standing, you may be seated. Eli can stay standing because something very special is coming up. It is the custom of this synagogue to shower gifts upon you at this time. And we have several different constituencies bestowing gifts. We have the United Synagogue Youth, we have our sisterhood, we have our men's club, and a presentation by the Religious School Committee. First, it is my honor to introduce Ezra Axel, who will be presenting you with a gift on behalf of the USY. You may have met.
Hi, Eli. We're getting the gift out right now, but as a function of my being here, I'm presenting you with this USY B'chol Echad. First, I just want to say Mazal Tov for how you're doing, and I can't wait to see how you do tomorrow. I remember during my Bar Mitzvah how I included a little bit in my speech about both you and Talia, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know it was something to the effect of you were almost prepared for your Bar Mitzvah then. And so it was true then, and it's true now. You're obviously very well prepared. And so in the spirit of that, I would like to present you with this B'chol Echad from USY. It's a songbook, and it says all the USY songs, the Ruach and the Sloach. And it's good for both participation in USY events, but also just for the songs that are contained. So Mazal Tov already, and I can't wait to see how you do.
Well done. We're now going to hand it over to Nancy Carlson, the president of our sisterhood, for a sisterhood presentation.
Eli, Rabbi Morris Galpert, of blessed memory, once remarked, "Our sages have taught us that it is not expected of us that we shall complete our tasks, but neither are we free to neglect them." And what are our tasks? Briefly, to conserve and enrich the finest values bequeathed to us by our heritage as Americans and by our faith as Jews. To this end, we expect that you will go forward in promoting awareness of the dignity of being Jewish with appreciation of religious, moral, and cultural values and continued participation in our PJTC community. I trust the Kiddush Cup that Sisterhood is presenting you will be a reminder of your accomplishments and heritage. Congratulations to you and to your family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen. We're now going to hand it over to John Weiss, who has a presentation on behalf of the Men's Club.
Hi, Eli. I am delighted to represent the PJTC Men's Club with the odd presentation for your bar mitzvah. You have done a terrific job with the Ma'ariv this Shabbat evening, and I cannot wait to witness your service tomorrow. I have known your parents for quite a few years, and I feel honored to have served on the PJTC board with your mother, Carrie. Knowing your parents, I'm not surprised that you already are displaying scholarly attributes. And I am also thrilled to see that you have continued your family's love for music with your trumpet and guitar playing, so keep them up. The PJTC Men's Club's primary goal is to support the youth in our community. Our benefactors include the Louis B. Silver Religious School, the B'nai Simcha Preschool, and our PJTC USY. We also support various Jewish Federation youth programs. So as a board member of the PJTC Men's Club, it is my honor to present you with your yad in a virtual sort of way. I hope this yad helps you not only with your current Jewish studies, but that it can provide some inspiration as you move forward in your Jewish life. Mazel tov.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. It is now my honor to present, to make a remark on behalf of another wonderful rabbi here. Rabbi Amy Gerasi gave me some words from her to share with you on behalf of our education department. So I see you holding up a certificate suitable for framing. In fact, we've already framed it. So hold that up as we share these words from Rabbi Amy Gerasi. Eli, mazel tov on becoming a bar mitzvah. While your formal Jewish education is ending, your journey to becoming a Jewish adult is just beginning. In this week's Parsha, we read about God's creation of the world and the role of human beings as stewards of the earth. On your way toward Jewish adulthood, LBSRS, the Religious School Committee, and I hope that you find exciting ways to care for our planet and its inhabitants. Eni Ratzon. We can't wait to see what you accomplish. Mazel tov. And so with that, you can enjoy your gifts. You can start your thank you notes right after this presentation. Just want to share a few very brief but very meaningful announcements about what's going on in this community in times to come before we wrap up with Kiddush. So you should know that it's still Shabbat, and it'll still be Shabbat tomorrow at 9:30 when we reconvene here to continue with our next service and to continue with Eli showing us all that he has learned and all that he has to teach us. So please tune in at 9:30. Wherever you are coming from, you are in the right place. So we'll see you tomorrow for that. And you should know that next weekend, which is also Shabbat, we will be celebrating the bat mitzvah of Millie Yoakum's Surface. That's next weekend, Friday and Saturday night. Some things going on in the intervening week. Sunday, October 18th, the USY and Kadima book clubs begin at 5 p.m. That's this Sunday. USY is reading the whole spiel, sounds Jewish, and Kadima is reading the award-winning Inquisitor's Tale. The junior USY has an Enola Holmes Netflix watching party this Sunday, October 18th at 7:15 p.m. This Tuesday, October 20th, the PJTC Jewish Federation of the San Gabriel Valley is having a virtual town hall with the Israeli Consul General Dr. Hillel Newman. That sounds amazing. It's going to start this Tuesday at 7 p.m. See the Jewish Federation of the San Gabriel Valley website for details. There's a couple of more programs happening on Wednesday, October 21st, that'll allow you to be in small groups and build relationships. At 7:30, the Sisterhood is having a Rosh Chodesh gathering that happens every month. This month will feature the Women's Committee of the PJTC Social Justice Committee for a conversation on being our best selves in caring for the world. That's one thing. At 8 p.m., there is a Pirkei Avot discussion group, one of the most popular Jewish texts dedicated to exploring the ethics of our fathers, the source of that wonderful quote that Nancy shared on behalf of Rabbi Galpert that comes from Pirkei Avot. So there's going to be a Pirkei Avot discussion group Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And on Thursday, our Melton class, Member of the Tribe, continues at 7:30. If you really wanted to take it, but you didn't get in yet, see Judy. She's very nice about that sort of thing. So love to see you all there. Really enjoyed celebrating Shabbat with you tonight and look forward to continue celebrating with you tomorrow. And with that, we are going to end as we began, and that is in joyful song. So feel free to stand up for this one because it sounds better when you do. I'm going to pass it back over to Cantor Ruth. Don't forget to stick around for Kiddush.
Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevot Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Good
Shabbos.
All right, if you want to join us for Kiddush, make sure you grab your juice or wine or what have you. You do you. And the Kiddush will be led by the Axel family here presently.
Okay. Va'erev va'boker yom hashishi, va'echulu hashamayim ve'haaretz, ve'chol tzevav, va'echal Elohim va'yom hashvi, melachto asher asa, va'yishpot va'yom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa, va'yevarech Elohim et yom hashevi, va'yikadesh oto, ki bo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim לעשות. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher tishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shavat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך, באהבה ורצון תנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השם.
All
L'chaim.
right, L'chaim. Just going to take 1 second to wash hands here real quick. It's never a bad idea to wash your hands. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen.
We'll hand it back to the chapel for the motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lehem min haaretz, te'avo.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Amen.
Mazal
Shabbat
tov.
shalom, everybody.
We will see you all tomorrow morning. Kat the challah. Come on, have a peace. Enjoy each other's company. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
That's the best part.